F-37 was a member of the online leadership chat group that planned the 2017 Unite the Right event in Charlottesville, Virginia, at the direction of the Southern Poverty Law Center. F-37 made racist postings under the supervision of the Law Center and helped coordinate transportation to the event between 2015 and 2023. SPLC secretly paid him more than $270,000. Mr. F-30 led the National Socialist Party of America. That's what Nazis are. So they had a whole page about this person, like, look at this piece of garbage. Give us money to stop people like this guy. Between 2014 and 2016, they secretly paid him more than $70,000. Whatever, right? And it's for the greater good of raising money for all the salaries, and their mission, just shut down the Nazi groups that they're keeping open by funding with the funds they raised based on the Nazi groups. Welcome to Loaded Talk. I am your congressman, the third most popular candidate to ever be. I'm Frank, and along with me as always...
What's up, planet Earth? I'm Bean.
The bean heard around the world. Because bean noises. Not just farts, but, you know, the bean itself could actually make a noise with the impact to be heard around the world. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's what we bring you. That's what we bring you. All right. So, big shock. The ceasefire that we announced last week kind of held, kind of didn't hold. They go, hey, we're going to open up the Strait of Hormuz again. We're going, okay. Well, okay. And then they go, hey, are you going to stop your blockade? We went, no. You go, oh, well, we're going to close the Strait of Hormuz again. And then they did. And so then it's been closed again. And gas prices went, I guess we'll jump to that first, actually. And in a shocking coincidence, again, I think this is the fourth time. So this is the fourth time. So just 15 minutes before Trump said he would extend the ceasefire with Iran, which was yesterday, that this was seen. But yeah, so I think it was yesterday he announced it too. He was like, the request of Pakistan's prime minister, I'm going to extend the ceasefire while we work out this deal. 15 minutes before that, a couple traders placed a series of bets worth $430 million on a drop in crude oil prices. And then he goes, 2-week extension. So I was like, oh, futures are looking bright. Drop in price. And yeah, $430 million. So we had that one. There's been a few with Iran. In fact, Iran's newest Lego video they released was about the series of strange investments that occurred 20 minutes before all these announcements. I mean, they're going to the Trump administration did circulate a memo, do not use betting markets on any of this stuff. You know, we mean it. I don't know that he sent one to Barron, but I'm saying he's not part of the administration. He wouldn't have a memo. Or Barron's carve-out friend. He's like, hey, you know how you're one of the poors? Do you not want to be one of the poors anymore? I got a scheme for you. And we go halvesies and walk away with hundreds of millions of dollars. Anyway, whoever's doing it, they really do need to, like, find this person. All jokes aside, it's so transparently corrupt what is happening that, I mean, really the only reason I could think that you wouldn't look into it is if it was your family. Because, like, and even then, you know, get on the phone and say, you have to stop this. Like, you have to stop this. Otherwise, you know, they're going to Hunter Biden you, which I guess doesn't mean much, but, like, I guess you just pardon them anyway. I guess that's part of it. You go, whatever. What crime? What crime? Oh, a federal crime? If only I could get a pardon from somebody, Dad. You know? But, like, even with that, like, it's just... it just undermines your legitimacy so much. Because when your family is getting just ungodly rich off the office, as you know, we've been critical of the Obamas and the Bidens, and you know, the Bushes were very rich beforehand. But you know, we've been very critical of Bill Clinton's brother. What was his name? Roger. He tried to make some Kash. And like, you know, every time these things pop up, people are critical. Sometimes it's criminal, sometimes not so criminal. This is looking very insider tradey criminal. And even if it somehow doesn't technically qualify as that, if you have somebody close to you making hundreds of millions, maybe by the end of it, $1 billion from the timing of futures purchases versus your actual announcements, and you go, well, it doesn't affect policy. I'm not doing anything for policy. It's like, yeah, but if they know your announcement you're about to make in 20 minutes, they can make a bet before that, 15 minutes out. And I don't know. It's so transparently corrupt. They have to do something about it. They won't, of course. Why would they? But I don't know. It's one of those things when Trump was running, talking about the swamp and talking about everything the Clintons were up to and just anything else he was talking about. Corrupt, sleazy. It's like this. I mean, like, granted, the Burisma stuff is different in that national policy was being directed in a way to funnel money, to launder money to Hunter Biden and possibly the whole Biden family. This is at least not taxpayer money. You know, it's a gambling site. So I guess in that way it's better, and it's reaction based, not action based. So go, okay, well, I know this is going to happen, so I'm going to bet that this is going to happen, as opposed to, well, let's see what you can offer me over in Ukraine, you know? So, yeah, put my boy on the board. Maybe you'll see some favorable policies come your way, you know? Fire that prosecutor, or you don't get all the support cash. Yeah, so, like, in that, it's a little better in the execution, but the amount of money is just so high that I don't know, it's just ridiculous. What do you think?
Well, it's like when Caroline Leavitt just all of a sudden ended a press conference, looks up at a clock, and just immediately stops mid-thought and ends the press conference. And it turns out there was a bet on how long the press conference would go.
Imagine it's been her the whole time. She's just like, well, make a little Betty bet. That is pretty funny. Like,
it's blatant too. Like, she's reading, she looks up, and goes, oh, that's all for now. Like, immediately.
How much money was won on that?
I didn't even look, but yeah, somebody told Caroline, or it was Caroline, that they had a bet and that she needed to end it at a certain time.
Well, that's the thing. Like, did you send me the thing about the airport in France?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that one guy that figured out where the one sensor was, and he heated the air around it for enough for it to register, just to cash out. But he got arrested for it, you know?
I'm assuming for trespassing.
I don't know. I don't remember what it was.
Because,
if you manipulate a betting thing, I don't know. I mean, you can't shave points, you know?
Right.
That's over in America. I don't know what France has. But France has rules about, like, putting stuff in wine, so, you know, they might get real particular about details of those things. Anyway. But, yeah, I don't know. All this, it'll probably be every administration until they have some sort of mechanism to stop this, you know, until, like, Polymarket or Kalshi or whoever, until they all go, hey, you need to upload your driver's license, and we're answerable to the feds, you know, or something. I don't know. It's, you know, I don't want the government to get their sticky little fingers into these prediction markets. But it does. It's, you know, it's just banana republic stuff. Like, they need to cut it out. They need to cut it out. And I don't know what else, you know. Like, good on you for getting one on the people, but you're just cheating at gambling, you know, which is nothing new, but stop. You look ridiculous. All right. So, of course, they've extended the ceasefire to work out the deals, and that's good. It seems like it's ceasefire on, ceasefire off. This is still technically a ceasefire, but there's a little bit of shooting, but not really. And the Israel ceasefire with Lebanon still technically in place, so it does seem like Israel does a lot of, you know, shooting and blowing shit up during the ceasefire, but I guess it's still in place technically. So I don't know, Charlie. I don't know. Even Trump says he's got no timeline. He goes, just something good. When do you think this will end? Because, like, it's got... The thing about it is, it's more of an albatross than anything else. You know, like, while we're sitting there going, let's figure out a way to get the Strait of Hormuz open, because it's sinking the global economy. And, like, yes, shutting down Iran's ports hurts them, you know, more than anybody else, obviously. They're not getting any money for the oil. They already are in a tough spot. So I understand why, until all negotiations are resolved, that you would go, no, actually, we're going to keep our blockade in place. You know, nothing. You get nothing. Though some ships did get out, apparently. But you have to know when you do that. Like, they're not going to go, oh, okay, well, we'll stay blocked in and we'll let everybody cross without shooting. But it's such an like, this thing has to end. It has to end. We have to open up the strait again. There's nothing really to gain from here that I can tell. We've blasted a lot of people to death. We could do some more of that, I guess, if we wanted to. There's not the willpower to put troops on the ground, though we kind of fluff that we might. All the nuclear stuff is still buried underground, according to some folks. So you go, what's the win from here? I don't know. We take what we already blew up and go, all right, we won because we killed their leadership and we blew up so many of their ships and all this kind of stuff that they're just incapacitated and they're going to suck for a while. And maybe we have normal conversations with them resumed for the first time or whatever. But, like, it just has to end. But I don't know. It just, it's dragging on. And I don't see why. What do you think?
The only thing I could think of is that the longer you drag it on, the more, especially if you're stopping ships, the more you affect supply chains. That's it. That's the only thing I could think of. Because there's no other reason to me. I don't know.
Now here's a thought. Okay, so a lot of ships start getting diverted to good old U.S. of A. You know, a lot of Texas, Gulf of America, Alaska, stuff like that. Where, when the price would go up to $140 a barrel or something like that, and we were just selling it at $80 a barrel, and I was like, oh, all day at $140, sure. So I wonder, because we see just anytime they go, it's going to be open, or a peace plan is in talks, market responds, both oil futures and just stock market overall just goes, yay, and everybody's happy again. And, like, whenever we end this, it's still going to take time for all these ships to get things back to the way they should be. But I wonder if we're waiting on some sort of amount of volume to be sold. Because in the energy sector, in the domestic energy sector right now, I mean, hand over fist. You got a barrel of oil you were happy to sell for $75, and suddenly you get $140 for it. And people are showing up, like, just... There's a line of people waiting to buy it from you at that price. You go, choo, choo, choo. Maybe there's people getting on the phone from Exxon or Shell or whoever. It's just like, yo, maybe we can make this stretch another couple weeks, Then once things have opened up again, market will respond. Hooray, everything's up again. oil prices will dip, but these oil companies might be sitting on a nice little chunk of change that they could use for further oil exploration or further construction of all these refineries and stuff that Trump's been promising. So I wonder if there's some sort of like, as opposed to a war for oil, if it's a war for oil profits domestically.
That's interesting because I know Australia was saying they were starting to suffer from all of this as far as oil goes. So that is an interesting strategy. Because you're right, then Australia would come to us and be like, "Hey, we need some freaking oil."
Well, that's the thing when you look at the charts. After like the strait was like closed and like it's going to be closed, there was a lot of ships that literally turned around. You could watch them do a 180 in the water. Those big old, these big old ships, and they're like, "I guess we're gonna take our empty ship and bring it over to America to fill up." So I don't know. I don't know what it would be very interesting to see our oil sales volume for this period of time once all those numbers come out compared to previous and after. See just how much money the oil companies made. Oil companies tend to donate in one direction, and it might be a good time when you're heading into the midterms to get lots of good donations from the oil companies. Also, here's a little thing. So, talking about midterms, it's November, right? So, you let it go now. Say things start to rally real good, right? You get into the summertime, maybe a little slow down or whatever. So, if you can just stretch this out more and then have it really rallying closer to when these elections are happening, when these debates are happening, you go, look at this roaring economy. Look at the roaring economy. Stock market through the roof. There's this, there's that, the other thing. You need enough time where all the damage heals, and enough time for people to kind of forget about the $4 a gallon gas. And you go, look how good all this is, though, huh? So I do wonder how much of midterm crap and how much of oil profiteering has to do with this timeline.
Interesting.
I don't know. Isn't that Doug Burgum? Isn't that his background is oil? The guy with the big eyebrows that's now like the Secretary of the Interior or whatever it is.
I don't know.
I have to look him up real quick.
Mentioning all that, maybe I should put some more of my bets in on those oil futures.
Yeah, well,
It's not me.
let's see. Yeah, so Doug Burgum. He's an American businessman, politician. Yeah, he is Secretary of the Interior. I am good at what I do. I don't care about that. What's his damn career? Great Plains Software. All right, Microsoft investment firm. I must have been that other guy. Governor of North Dakota. All right, maybe it was that other guy that was running last time that was an oil guy. Let's see. Kilburn Group, Real Estate Development. Nope. Okay, nope. He's not an old guy. What was that? Well, it doesn't matter, but it's going to drive me crazy. There was a couple of dudes that ran for the primary this last time that didn't stand a chance. And a couple of them look like Muppets. Anyway.
Speaking of Polymarket and people running for positions that don't stand a chance, Polymarket, have you checked out the presidential candidates?
No.
There is so much money for the most ridiculous candidates.
Really?
Yeah, like LeBron James.
Oh.
Why?
I guess the payout's good. But it's not going to hit.
Right.
Yeah.
I
don't know. Maybe people are being silly? Or that's the state of the Democratic Party where people go, well, it's not going to, who do we got? It's like, well, LeBron talks politics sometimes. So maybe LeBron will jump in and save us. Which I would welcome that. Just never gotten past the first page of a book one day in his life. And I want to see him up on that debate stage. Would be funny to see a 6'9" or whatever he is, dude, just up there, like extended mic. Are you able to pull up Polymarket stuff here?
Let's see.
Or without logging in and stuff?
I don't know. They might have that wall.
Yeah. I am interested in who they C for the El Presidente. I mean, obviously on the Republican side, J.D. Vance is the huge leader with Marco in second place, and for obvious reasons. Oh, what do we got? We got all these things. U.S. elections, presidential winner, 2028. J.D. Vance, Gavin Newsom cannot be. He cannot be the nominee for the Democrats.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't. Some of this just doesn't make sense.
And like, let's see who they got here. We'll flip it over here. All right, J.D. Vance. Oh, man, stick.
The Rock.
People have been betting on The Rock for a while.
Look at how much.
Yeah, $6 million. Why is it? He's $6 million and Buttigieg is $4 million, and Tucker Carlson's $10 million, but they're all 2%.
It's probably a combination of how much money's gone in for both sides of the bet, maybe.
Oh yeah, it says volume. Yeah. Oh, by yes, by no. Okay. Yeah, I haven't spent too much time on the site. Yeah, this makes sense. J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio being at the top. I think AOC should be above Gavin Newsom. I think Kamala and I'm looking forward to Kamala getting into this primary and showing how unpleasant she is, because she's starting to position herself again like oh, I guess you are gonna go for it. And remember the last time where she started off as a leader and she didn't get any votes, and she didn't get California, her home state, and she's like, well, I guess I'll be leaving now. And Tulsi sank her about her convictions on just basic marijuana possession, the number of people she locked up, while then laughing about liking to smoke weed and listen to Tupac. You go, okay, cool, you're a heartless prosecutor cop. Yeah, J.D. Vance up top, then Gavin Newsom, then Marco Rubio. Let's see, John Ossoff, not a chance. Donald Trump, it's literally not legal.
I mean, can we pay to not have her speak or show up?
That would be funny.
I'll donate.
We're going to give you $10 million. Our group, St. Pete for Progress, has announced a $10 million donation if you never come here and speak words out loud in this city. We'll give you $10 million cash. Just don't run commercials here. Just shh. It'll be fine.
If you hit I-275, keep on driving.
Thomas Massey, Elon Musk, and Andy Bashir, Ivanka Trump, all Stephen Smith, all have 1% chance. They do have a lot. You're right. There's a lot of money going in here. Maybe a lot of it's on the no, though. Michelle Obama.
Oh, yeah.
Because what is it? Yeah. I guess, with enough of these. Oh, there's LeBron. $48 million in volume. I do wonder if you put enough money on it. So if you're going to win, I guess that means you win, 60 cents? Or no, half a cent?
Yeah, point.
Yeah. It's basically half a cent for every dollar. But I guess with enough dollars, I mean, you vote no on most of these people. You're going to be right on most of these people. If you put enough dollars in, I guess, yeah, 1 penny per dollar, 1% return. I don't know. That might be coming up.
I'll be back here later.
Yeah, Kamala Harris. That seems like the one, 4 cents.
Put my whole paycheck on that.
Yes, Marco and Vance are too squirrely. Either one of them can end up being the nominee and winning. And then Gavin Newsom, it just can't be. It just can't be. Just can't be, Charlie.
Well, I mean, it could just be driven by just morons, but...
Well, and they haven't really begun the process. They haven't begun the primary process. People haven't started jumping in yet. I mean, he's the one that's been positioning the longest that he wants this. But, I was talking to people from Los Angeles a couple weeks ago, and they are Democrat voters, and they hate Gavin Newsom. He's ruined Los Angeles. He's just ruined Los Angeles. California sucks. And,
Right.
And they're not the only ones thinking that. Right now, out of the top candidates for governor, I think 2 of them are Republican. Now they've got to do that. They do that open primary where the top 2, if you don't get 50 plus 1, you have to run against one another. But I think even the top Democrats, either that Katie Porter crazy lady.
Oh, God.
Yeah, kind of rooting for her. And and then I think Tom Steyer, the billionaire guy. But it's like I feel like he's a moderate too or something. I forget. But it's, California seems to be over Newsom. But that's the thing. If the whole state of California says get out, like imagine if the Democratic primary, neither Newsom nor Kamala can carry the state of California, and AOC does, or I don't know about Josh Shapiro. Josh Shapiro's got a lot of strength, but this is a weird time for Jewish politicians.
Yeah, he could definitely lock it up. That's for sure.
I mean, he's solid. He's like intelligent. He's good at speaking. He speaks tough, so he doesn't seem like a sissy little pushover. He's from Pennsylvania, purple state, energy sector. Fetterman has become popular from Pennsylvania. I think is the most capable candidate. I think one of the big things harming him right now, I don't know his position on Israel and Netanyahu, but it's not a very popular thing right now. It's tough being Jewish in the Democratic Party unless you're also swinging against AIPAC. I just don't know. I'm doubting. Actually, we'll change topics, but just out of curiosity, what is Josh Shapiro's position on Israel and Netanyahu? Because, I think didn't Kamala basically say in her book he was too Jewish to name for the VP candidate?
6 hours ago from the Times of Israel.
Oh, that's good. Let's see. Real time from Stephen M. Flatow. Josh Shapiro's careful words on Israel and what they avoid. On the eve of Israel's 78th Independence Day, Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro struck a familiar tone. He spoke of his love for Israel, affirmed support for life-saving systems like Iron Dome, and emphasized America's interest in protecting civilians under missile fire. So far, so good. But then came the pivot. One thing that is becoming increasingly common among ambitious Democrats positioning themselves for national office. Here we go. Shapiro argued that the United States should use its military aid as leverage to ensure Israel acts in accordance with American values. And criticized Donald Trump for being a rubber stamp for the government of Netanyahu. It's not quite a contradiction, but it's close. That is pretty close. On the one hand, Shapiro wants to reassure mainstream voters and many in the Jewish community that he stands with Israel, especially when it's under direct attack. On the other, he's signaling to a Democratic base that has grown more skeptical and more critical, and in some corners, openly hostile to Israeli policy. The result is a formulation that sounds balanced, even thoughtful. In practice, it raises more questions than it answers. What does leverage actually mean? Okay, we don't have to go out with this. Okay, sounds like he's workshopped it pretty good. I mean, you go, hey.
Dipped his toe in the water.
Mm-hmm. Well, you go, hey, Israel has a right to exist, of course, blah, blah, blah. And they have a right to defend themselves, of course, blah, blah, blah. But you go, also, we can't just do everything Netanyahu wants, and we should use our leverage to make them act the way that we want them to act. And I think that's about as good as an answer as you're going to get from a politician, probably. That doesn't just come out and go, F them, which no one says that's necessarily a good answer. But okay, I don't know. That might do it. Keep an eye on him. He's my dark horse candidate. He's just, I don't know. He's solid. He's the guy that, and I think he'd be not great as president. I mean, but who has done better than not great? So
I just wish he wouldn't sign bombs. Don't sign bombs.
So that's the thing that kind of, I forgot about that, because then you just run that, you go, oh yeah, you just kind of, you don't totally support all the actions. Here's you signing the bomb that was dropped on the little girl's school. Look, we found this fragment of your signature still in her skull.
Oh, God.
One pigtail. And anyway, thanks for your support. Yeah, because that's the reality. You do understand, like that guy said, technically none of that contradicts itself, but maybe previous actions have, and it's just a hard line to walk as a politician if you've been signing bombs to look tough. Like, it's such a weird thing, the signing the bombs. Like, I don't care. I don't know. I guess if you felt just 100% behind, like, this thing, like a good versus evil, we're about to go to Hitler's house and drop this on Adolf Hitler, you go, slap my name on that one, yeah, maybe I can put my face on the front of it. So he's just like, oh, no!
That might convince me right there.
Just see me coming in like, oh, the drop exploding.
The last thing I saw was this guy's random face.
Yeah. He did look very Aryan, though, so it was comforting. I said, yes, this is what I want. This is good. Oh, man. That, when I had, like, bleached hair back in, like, college, and I was on one of those tubing trips up in North Carolina on the Green River, where you just drink your way down the river. This guy came floating by, and I drank, like, Bush or Natty Light or something at the time, And so some guy was like, hey, man, can I get a beer? I was like, sure, I was like, go in the cooler, grab, the 25-cent beer. Here you go. As I'm handing it to you, he goes, thanks, Aryan, brother. And I was like, okay. And then he left, and I was like, what does this say about me as a person? This guy who probably did some time, probably, hung out with the Aryan Brotherhood while in the clink. He saw my, 19-year-old self floating down the river, or 21 because I had beer, whatever. And it was just like, that's clearly one of my Aryan brothers. I sat there for a while just like, I don't know how I feel about this. I don't know how I feel about myself now. Anyway, there we go. So, actually, God, I'm so good. This is such a perfect transition. This is why I'm in the Podcast Hall of Fame. 3 times in a row. Every vote, they just keep putting me in there. I hope there's not actually something called the Podcast Hall of Fame.
Oh, God.
Yeah. One, but also, they might not like people lying. Not that I am. I'm in the Hall of Fame. All right, the Southern Poverty Law Center.
Well done.
Yeah. So, people who have been fighting the good fight against extremism, especially right-wing extremism. People may or may not remember that it was only 4 years ago or so that they added the Libertarian Party as a hate group, an extremist group. It was because Mises Caucus won elections, and they were more quote-unquote right than left or whatever. And so Southern Poverty Law Center was like, well, they're a hate group. That was pretty much it. That was pretty much all they needed. They go, oh, if you're not left, you're a hate group. But they've been, trying to... So, after... Actually, I think this article kind of mentions when this thing began. Well, basically, at some point, at some point, people try to prosecute a bunch of, hate group leaders all on one thing, neo-Nazi, Klan, all this kind of stuff. And it was I think they lost, because freedom of speech, right to assemble, all that kind of stuff. I think it might have been when the ACLU defended the Nazis. I'm not sure. But at some point, most of the sort of hate group work started getting done by NGOs and nonprofits who would do civil lawsuits. They'd figure out some way that there's damages and do civil lawsuits or injunctions, try and stop them from talking, don't let them do business, maybe whatever you got to do, but through civil means with a non-government organization. So Southern Poverty Law Center was the guy. They were the group. We donate to them. If you want bulldogs going after the Nazis and the KKK and these other just white power extremist type groups. Southern Poverty Law Center, that was your attack dog. Well, ends up, oopsie doopsie, they're now getting indicted by the feds because they weren't so much investigating them as they were funding them and propping them up and then using the hyped up, propped up existence to better fundraise.
Wow.
And so, we'll go to this. Here's a couple of things from the indictment. So these are people. So F37 was a member of the online leadership chat group that planned the 2017 Unite the Right event in Charlottesville, Virginia, and attended the event at the direction of the Southern Poverty Law Center. F37 made racist postings under the supervision of the Law Center and helped coordinate transportation to the event for several attendees. Between 2015 and 2023, SPLC secretly paid him more than $270,000. That's 9-ish years or something. So what's that, $30,000 a year? And this is someone organizing the Unite the Right rally, which, funny enough, a lot of these rallies, this is a Substack by Arthur Bloom, and he kind of makes this point. It looks like some of the allegations of Fed that constantly swirl around these sorts of groups might actually get litigated in court. So it ends up, a lot of people looked at some of these rallies and go, they just look like feds. I don't think these are actual white supremacists. Maybe I'm right. Conspiracy theorists might be right again.
Correct.
Correct. Now, how about an imperial wizard of the Ku Klux Klan? Ep100 was the imperial wizard of the United Klans of America, UKA. In an article published on November 22nd, 2013, the Southern Poverty Law Center described the group as a millennial reboot of what was once a serious domestic threat. In its prime, hating on millennials, in its prime, the United Klans of America was responsible for, among other things, the 16th Street Baptist Church bombing in Birmingham, Alabama, which resulted in the deaths of 4 little girls in 1963. It's almost like they used to be cool. Remember when they used to, kill little black girls? Now they just, I don't know, they tippy-tappy on the internet, blah, 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 millennial nonsense. So they're paying the Imperial Wizard during that time. So they got the Imperial Wizard on payroll while they're talking smack about his organization. And you go okay, so they aren't effective? Are you paying the Imperial Wizard to not be effective? Or are you propping up the Imperial Wizard as a leader? What's happening?
Sounds like a weird form of gaslighting.
Something, yeah. All right, here's some more. Mr. F30 led the National Socialist Party of America, that's what Nazis are, was the former director of a faction of the Aryan Nations, my home group, and a former member of the Ku Klux Klan. The SPLC website contained an extremist file webpage for F30, from which they solicited donations. So they had a whole page about this person, look at this piece of garbage. Give us money to stop people like this guy. Between 2014 and 2016, they secretly paid him more than $70,000, once again about $35,000 a year. This overlapped the time period where he was featured on the Extremist File website. So they're literally fundraising to shut him down and then paying him $35,000 a year to stay in place. F43 was the reported national president of the American Front and a convicted federal felon for his participation in a cross burning. That's the type of Klansman they like. Between 2016 and 2019, they paid him more than $19,000, so $6,000 a year, just a little stipend, I guess. I think there's one more good one in here. Maybe there's not. But, so here's the thing. All right, so they pay these people, and they go, hey, let's build this program up here. Let's get this moving. Let's get this rally going. Let's make sure we have a nice public presence. And then they show up and they go, look at these people in public. Give us money and we'll stop it. And they give it more money to those people, and the new groups too. And they go, don't you think you should be as cool as those guys? Because they're doing rallies and stuff. Like, you could do rallies. You could do rallies. And then they show the rallies, go, y'all should pay us. And they're like, oh, keep paying all these different hate groups that do have mission. You know, they have missions. It doesn't tend to work out good for people that aren't white, you know, as part of the mission. But I guess, you know, if you just pay them $30,000 a year, you know, if it's just stuff on the internet, whatever, right? And it's for the greater good of raising money for all the salaries of the Southern Poverty Law Center and their mission to shut down the Nazi groups that they're keeping open by funding with the funds they raised based on the Nazi groups. Anyway, I know what you're thinking, Charlie, but you're wrong.
Okay.
This is just more Donald Trump blah, blah, blah.
The 2017 chess.
Well, this is what this is overreach. Let's see. All right. Yeah, can you close that thing? I hate it. All right. The SPLC's stated mission included the dismantling of white supremacy and confronting hate across the country. What? However, unbeknownst to donors, some of their donated money was being used to fund the leaders and organizers of racist groups, including the Ku Klux Klan, the Aryan Nation. Have you ever heard of the National Alliance? I've never heard of the National Alliance.
Nope.
Yeah.
Made up.
Yeah, it's just the board. It's just the voting members of the SPLC board. All right, hold on. So we all know what happened. Democrats are not buying it. Hakeem Jeffries, House Minority Leader, not because he's a minority, Charlie. It's just what the title is. You racist piece of trash.
I've always wondered why that slipped.
Listen. There are white minority leaders sometimes, too. God. Are you signing up for the Aryan Brotherhood?
I mean, I've been donating to the SPLC, whatever it is.
Oh, so you've basically built them, you piece of garbage. God, your hate knows no bounds.
Oil futures and hate crimes.
It's called a diversified portfolio. What you want from me? All right, so Hakeem Jeffries says, these partisan hacks who continue to weaponize the criminal justice system against perceived opponents will never intimidate us. And all of them will be held accountable for their corrupt behavior, no matter what it takes. And then we got Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. Well, I guess that doesn't help. Yeah. Okay, fine. He said the Trump administration is waging a vindictive campaign against the organizations that safeguard our democracy. And it's launching an assault on the institutions that make freedom real for everyone. So Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries are basically coming out and going, this is nonsense. They don't like him because they disagree politically, which SPLC always pretended to not really have a political bend. You know, they're just about extremists and hate. You know, oh, no, it's not politics. But it seems like Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries thinks that they're a left-wing organization that Trump is going after because of political differences, which is interesting. Also, the Democrat Socialists of America, that's on the left, right? What about, so with the National Socialist, are they tied? Well, if you're a Democratic Socialist, you're part of the nation, so surely that puts you in with the National Socialists, right?
Makes sense to me.
Yeah, it's like you got the national branch, you got little affiliates. So anyway, Democratic Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen. Let's be clear: the Trump admin's vendetta against the SPLC is a sign of how impactful their work is. The SPLC has been the forefront exposing some of America's most notorious hate groups, like the KKK. The fact that the Trump administration feels threatened by that speaks volumes. Oh, here's a good University of New Hampshire assistant professor. Who cares what that guy says? I'm going to read it just because I see Adolf Hitler in there, and that seems like it might be funny. If Adolf Hitler was suddenly reincarnated and installed inside the American government, okay, one of the first things he would do is start investigating organizations like the Southern Poverty Law Center. I got it, Trump's Hitler. Okay, got it. The SPLC is America's early warning systems for fascist white supremacist takeovers of our country. All right.
What?
And then this is what the SPLC says. Acting Attorney General. So the Acting Attorney General says SPLC is manufacturing racism to justify its existence. SPLC says, we frequently shared what we learned from the informants with local and federal law enforcement, including the FBI. We did not, however, share our use of informants broadly with anyone to protect the identity and safety of the informants and their families. While we no longer work with paid informants, we continue to take their safety seriously. The interim president, what happened to the last one? And CEO Brian Fair said in a video. So, here's the thing. They go, hey, we have undercover people and we feed information to the FBI so they can get arrests. Problem is, FBI said, we have no record of getting any intelligence from you people. It's like, well, shit. And then some of the Democrats, they go, FBI does this all the time. You send in an informant to infiltrate a group, and then you get the info and you feed it back and then you get the prosecutions. What is different, would you say, in FBI infiltrating some organization by sending in, either someone to do business with them or sending in a guy that wants to join up in the mob or the gang or whatever? What's the difference between that tactic and having like the Grand Wizard on the payroll or the guy organizing Unite the Right?
Just saying.
Well, here's the difference.
I mean, it's already in there.
SPLC, is getting decision makers. They're paying the decision makers. So why are they paying the decision makers? They're paying them to make decisions. Now, if you put in there's that awesome guy that was doing the podcast circuits for a while where he infiltrated the Klan and a Nazi group and all that. He's just a big biker looking guy, and his stories are amazing. I forget his name now, but he's got these great stories. You go, yeah, that sounds but he infiltrated the old fashioned way where he went to where the biker gangs would hang out, and he'd just sit there, drink beer, ingratiate himself with the bartender and some locals where they're like, I like that guy. He's all right. That guy's all right. He comes in, drinks a beer, and then eventually he kind of gets brought into the fold. But you're the low man on the totem pole, and so then you kind of feed intelligence back and you try and build a case. This is not that, because that's reporting on what they want to do, and you're feeding it back to build the case of how they want to operate. This is paying to $30,000. If it's a Grand Wizard or Grand Cyclops or Grand whatever,
Grand Cyclops.
That's an actual position. Come on.
I knew about Wizard. There's a Cyclops.
Yeah, Google Grand Cyclops.
Oh my
Ku
God.
Klux Klan.
Oh my God.
It's
This is the greatest ever.
I'm pretty sure that's what a Strom Thurmond was. Strom Thurmond of former congressperson. Let's see. Ku Klux Klan titles and vocabulary. Got a whole thing. You're going to have to scroll down to find it. Realms, dominions, province. They really get the... Oh, here we go. Wait, scroll up, go up. The Dens were the basic level organization for the Reconstruction Klan, and the original prescript, its chief officer, was the Grand Cyclops. Yep. And he would appoint 2 Nighthawks, a Grand Turk, a Grand Sentinel, a Grand Magi. Nice. Grand Ensign. Grand Monk. Ooh, there's ghouls. I wonder if it changed. Oh, Second Era. Yeah, here's a Second Era.
These guys sound like nerds.
I know. This is how you used to play D. Now you get dice and you throw them. Yeah, I'm a wizard. They go. It's all right. What does the wizard do? They go, hangs the darkies. Oh, well, okay. We're playing wizards. But now I think. Let's see, post 94.
Learn amazing things on this show.
That's what I'm here for. Education. That's all I do is teach everything. Code words and phrases. Strangers are near, be on guard. Sandbog. All right. Clannish loyalty, a sacred principle.
Oh, wow, they got code?
Ku Klux Register. The original prescripts register contained 12 designations thought to correspond to months. Dismal, sassy, fast, furious, portentous, wonderful, alarming, kill with a K, melancholy, mournful, dying, and fabulous. I don't know. Yeah, let's see. Second prescript. There you go. They got rid of us. Dismal, mystic, stormy, peculiar, blooming, brilliant, painful, portentous. They really like that one. Fading, melancholy, glorious, gloomy. And they got colors. Why would you need to have colors for the? I guess you just got talking codes so much that you got to talk about your purple emeralds and crap. The calendar with a K. There's a calendar with a K. All right, they at least did their branding right. I mean, come on.
Their merch says it all.
See, all right. May is furious. So, if your birthdays, okay. So your birthdays on the 5th week, on the 3rd day, that would be dismal, weird, furious. So I'm like, come on, dismal, weird, furious, Charlie. We're going out.
I would literally quit the group if I was
You'd have to have one of those things, like turn the wheel. You go, hold on. Talking May, right? Okay, I got May.
I feel like this is too complicated.
But I think it was Strom Thurmond, who was, a senator and a governor and all this stuff. He was one of these guys that got so old in office. I'm pretty sure because he was from West Virginia, and back when, back in like the 50s and stuff, to win in West Virginia, you need to be in the Klan. And so I guess at some point, obviously we didn't go through Wikipedia too seriously here to find all the details, but I think the Grand Cyclops was basically kind of like the recruitment officer. And so like he was a politician, was really good at recruiting. And so, he got the endorsement, obviously, of the Klan, and he won for a while. And then eventually, the Klan lost its shine, even in West Virginia. And he kind of like, oh, that's just behind me. He never really apologized, but he kind of put it behind him. Bill Clinton had a nice laugh about it. Used to be with them boys in the robes, But yeah, it was like he was in office forever in America. He was in office in the 90s in America, and he was the top recruiter for the Ku Klux Klan in West Virginia for a time. And it openly, it's out there, and he goes, well, it's phase. It's just phase my life. It's over now. Okay. All right, so back to the point. Back to the point. When you have a Grand Wizard, a Cyclops, or whatever on your payroll, you're not paying them to say, oh, hey, what are you going to do now? And he goes, I'm going to tell you my plans. Please don't arrest me. I promise we won't give this information to anybody. That's surely even a Klansman can't be that stupid to go, well, I guess I can tell you my plans as long as you promise not to tell nobody, Southern Poverty Law Center. And they don't seem to be making the claim that the Klansman thought he was talking to someone who's not the Southern Poverty Law Center. There's not another informant. They're paying this guy. So clearly, you got a dude running the Klan. I bet you $30,000 makes a world of difference. If I just doubt this guy's a titan of industry, is what I'm saying. And so you go, hey man, $30,000. It's like, what do you want me to do with this? It's like, why don't you use this media package we gave you? Why don't you blast that on the internet? And he goes, holy cow! It's like best of speeches. Look at all these pictures that make me look good. Damn, we look white. And they go, yeah, that's right. New website, just good. Put all this stuff up. Make your Klan grand. And it's like, all right. I'm like, what do you get out of it? We're gonna call you a piece of garbage and raise a bunch of money. I'm like, all right. Because it's clearly when you have top level people that you're paying directly, you're affecting action. And in this case, you are trying to grow their brand so that you can fundraise against their powerful brand. Because when I saw that the Klan march in Orlando, and it ended up being 9 people, and one of them was an undercover journalist, and none of them had hoods on. It was just
guys even trying.
It was really bad, and a lot of people showed up to protest. A lot of people, tons of people showed up, and their march was so quick. I think they sped walk through that. They're just because the time they ended was the time they're supposed to start. I think they kind of tried to throw us off there so people wouldn't be waiting on them. But they basically stood in front of City Hall. I think they did a white power chant or something. They were there for a couple minutes. Like, just it was just like, you looked at them, it was just dudes, just like unimpressive dudes. And they got into like 2 pickup trucks and left. And you go, well, clearly we don't have a problem with the Klan. If we can't handle 8 people, we can't handle 8 dudes and 2 trucks, like, we got an issue. And I think we can handle it. But you're not going to fundraise a whole lot and being like, hey, what about these 8 guys? What you need is those 8 guys to show up on the interstate, wave big swastika flags and all this kind of stuff. And then you go look at that. They're just blatantly, just boldly on the street trying to sell their hate. And you go, oh, man, like, look at these guys on the side of the road. You start counting, you go, there's only 8 of them. It's like, are these the same guys? We have 8 Klansmen in Florida? Is that, or Central Florida? Like, I think the answer to that is yes. Because after that, because they make the news, they make the news like standing on the side of I-4 near Disney or near Lakeland or whatever. And every time I see it, I start counting. I've never gotten double digits, So I think it's just the same guys going to the same things. But if you get nice media attention, because the Southern Poverty Law Center encourages it, well, now you can fundraise. Now it's a big issue. It's not 8 rednecks in 2 pickup trucks.
I mean, I guess it is more of a guarantee, like you said, comparing to the FBI trying to plant somebody in there. It takes a bit. Maybe the information isn't as good or clear, playing telephone, basically, whereas if you go right to the top, you're good,
Well, it's also, when you go right to the top, it's no longer an investigation. If you're directing and you go like, hey, let's, do people need rides? Do people need rides to unite the right? We can help with that. Like, here's our van contact. Here, go ahead, do this.
Yeah, now you're turning dials.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you're working the phones for them and go, we can get more people. Cletus needs a ride. We got to bring Cletus. Have you heard how Cletus pronounces the N-word? Oh, my goodness. We need Cletus. Like, he's got to be there. So, like, once you're organizing, then it's just like, it's this circular, just nothing. It's just a nothing go. We have to stop this thing that only exists because we prop it up. If not for us propping it up, you would never have heard of it. Maybe they wouldn't even be here anymore because they just can't afford to wash their sheets. They've run out of white sheets. Now they've got like the old polka dot ones they had as a kid, and there's a little pea stain. It's embarrassing. It's hard to burn crosses when you're wearing a pea stain and polka dotted sheets. It's just not becoming a proper Grand Wizard. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. It's under active indictment, so they'll get their day in court for I don't know what, fraud and money laundering. Because that's the thing too, is they wash it real good. It's not anything about it's protecting our sources. It's like, okay, but like with the police, with the law enforcement, they do that as well. But what they'll do, like say they just need to drop off a suitcase of cash because their informant undercover guy is going to buy a bunch of cocaine, right? They pull it out of probably the evidence locker, but however they go about getting it, and there's a paper ticket receipt, if they're doing it right, and it says, $75,000 pulled out to this for, cocaine sting operation 1593, right? And so then when someone takes a briefcase full of cash and just leaves it somewhere, and they're taking pictures and stuff the whole time, it's like, yeah, like on the surface, this is kind of washed, maybe these days, cash is king. But, if you did have to go and buy green dot money cards and do this whole rigmarole, the process would be charted unless they were horrible at their job. And so it's like Southern Poverty Law Center. It's like, okay, show us your receipts. I'm like, oh, you did everything to hide your receipts. Well, that's different. That's money laundering. That's you're obfuscating money to hide it from your donors and everyone else. And so you're in court, And they're so obnoxious. And so people go, oh, who cares about this stupid group, right? But it was SPLC that led to the Biden era investigating the Catholics. Remember when Catholics became terrorists if they went to traditional like Latin mass, and they're we gotta look into it. That data, that traditional mass Catholics were a rising group of anti-Semitic extremists, came from the SPLC, who fundraise off of stopping these sorts of groups. Now, who knows if they're donating to Catholic, Christ is King organizations or something, but the fact that the President of the United States will start federal investigation, will put an entire religious group under the surveillance of the FBI based on the recommendations from this group, that's when you go, well, okay, so you're kind of nefarious in how you handle your things, and you're dictating criminal investigations performed by the FBI at American citizens based on their religion, and you just go, well, I think they're a little anti-Semitic. It's like, well, in what way? Like, they tell jokes about Jewish people, and they go, because there's none that live in their community, and they go, the Jews, because it's like, it's not pleasant. It's not criminal. It's like, are you talking about burning down a synagogue? It's like, well, no, they'd never do that. You go, well, what are we even talking about? If we're just talking about, I don't know, people that, I don't know. If it's just like, they're anti-Semitic. Go, okay. I guess look at them. What do you want them to do? Are you going to counsel them? You're going to find them and be like, busted. That's not an appropriate joke. Not all Jews control the money. All the money is controlled by some, okay, but not all the money, yes, but not all the Jews. That's what I'm saying. FBI.
Yeah. It's so easy to, I feel like the anti-Semitic, adjective is just so, it's so easy to.
It's just worn thin.
They're just throwing it out there like it's nothing.
I know. Well, it's kind of, it's what they did with the funny enough, it's what they did with the Nazi. Everybody was a Nazi. I guess it's kind of the same damn thing, just trying another bite at the apple. I guess Nazi is more general. But yeah, it's just everything. Because, it's like anytime it's someone from Israel or, like a Jewish politician or mainly something about Israel, but it's just like, that's anti-Semitic. Like, you see it all day, this anti-Semitic, blah, 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 blah. Mark Levin throws it out all the time. Like, for all these people that hated woke, and I hated woke, where they go, you can't use these words. If you use these words, you're a Nazi. Like, all the Mark Levins and these Fox News people who are all jumping on the anti-woke, we're going to say woke a whole lot because that's what the old people like. The old people that watch Fox News, they too want to battle woke. And they go, all right. So anyway, we support Israel. And if you don't, you're a Nazi. You go, wait, I thought that was woke. Here's the, okay.
I knew this was going.
All right. Do you know who James Lindsay is? Mm-mm. All right. So he's a good mind on, he's really studied communism, and he was good on the woke thing where he was looking at Ibram X. Kendi and stuff like that, and looking at critical race theory and kind of an extension of Marxism. And he's really studied Marxism and the manipulation of language and how all these things work. And so he at some point also became, I don't know, exceedingly loyal to Israel. And maybe he always was, but he's got one of those pictures everyone's got of, the wall and the yarmulke and stuff. And you go, and he's not Jewish, and he's not, I don't even know if he's Christian, to be honest. But anyway, he's a staunch defender. And so he's come up with this term called woke right? And he's explained it, at this point, he's explained it to a point that I understand what he's trying to say, which is basically, it's critical America theory. So critical race theory is based on racism. You can't ever improve, racism is systemic, and therefore you can't actually solve any of these problems. You have to overthrow the whole system. It's a critical look at, it's a critical race theory, right? So so he says the woke right, or who he calls woke right, are people who say that America is inherently corrupt, and therefore you can't do anything the system, it'll never be okay until the system's replaced or whatever. So he said, that's woke right now. He only kind of said that kind of stuff recently where I'm like, okay, I see we're going like, okay, woke right equals critical America theory equals, but in practice, woke right has been critical of getting involved with Israel, critical of getting in wars with Iran, and thinking that Israel is kind of pulling the chain on this thing. And so, woke right is Tucker Carlson, it's Dave Smith, it's pretty much anybody that's been, in practice, he only seems to use it on people being critical of Israel and the U.S. involvement with Israel, right? And the crazy thing is, so you got all the people who are like, we got to stop the woke. They always calling all of us Nazis. They're calling all of us Nazis just for disagreeing. And then they go, those guys that don't agree with me, they're Nazis, and they're the woke right. So it's like, hold on. So you're calling everyone a Nazi now for disagreeing. And it used to be that people calling everybody a Nazi was the woke. And now you're calling everyone a Nazi, and the people you're calling a Nazi are the woke. And it's this weird, like, I don't know, it's fun with language. And the fun thing about that is that's kind of part of, all this Marxism type stuff is like redefining the language. And so this guy who has probably put more time into studying Marxism and critical theory and all this stuff more than anybody else kind of looks like he's trying to use some of that language manipulation to redefine this whole woke argument and what is right and what is wrong. Because we already know woke is wrong, therefore woke right has to, or as Mark Levin calls them, the woke Reich. But no, it seems like he's using what is bad of redefining this language and then doing it here, redefining what woke means, and even redefining in real time. Because when he talks about, critical American theory, you go, okay, I guess I can see what you're saying. I see this thing. But in practice, it doesn't work that way. Like, granted, yes, some of these people are also being very critical of U.S. policy. But you can be critical of U.S. policy. And you can point out things that happened that really, like, if we really did something that was bad, and you go, hey, we did this, that's pointing out reality. Now, if you say, we did this, we used to feed people hallucinogens to try to brainwash them. Maybe it worked on Jack Ruby. And because of that, we'll never be able to be a good nation. Well, that's kind of silly, But to go, you can't talk about all the crazy stuff that's happened in the past and say, hey, do we think that we can just blanket trust the FBI if they have this series of abuses? Just long series of abuses, and we go, well, that's okay. They've probably stopped it. Now, that's just being foolish. You're allowed to point it out, and you're allowed to make conclusions on it, and you don't have to say you'll never overcome it, but it's going to be challenging. It's going to be challenging because of a long series of abuses. I don't know, what you got anything on that? I know it was James Lindsay specific.
That's excellent. I can't fathom somebody being more of a Marxist than Hillary Clinton, but...
Well, she called herself an early 20th century progressive. And that was because she was trying to escape the term liberal, because liberal had become poisoned, which is funny because now liberal's good again. And actually more people in sort of the libertarian right will use it than the left because of the classical liberal, the original meaning of it. People keep redefining language, of course. And it started with an early, Woodrow Wilson, an early 20th century progressive. And he was the one that really started all the different departments. You got, I got to get my cabinet. I need a bunch of administrators. I need, instead of it being sort of a more, less impact federal government, he's like, we need to centralize things. We need the federal government to have a series of administrators to administer those different directions. Of course, they need a staff below them. And so, like, Woodrow Wilson really brought in this sort of, like, centralized giant government borderline Marxist sort of thought of centralizing and strong control. FDR played on it later a lot, and we've never really been okay since. And so that was her thing. Just a 20th century progressive. And you look at it, you go, that looks like someone trying to build communism. Progressing towards what? Progressing towards communism. I think if you're a libertarian progressive, then you would have to be progressing towards, one might say you have to progress towards anarchy. I don't think it's universally required. You might go, no, I think there's a level you stop at that's adequate. But, at some point you go, this much government, it's too much, it interferes. Is there a level that doesn't,
like aspects of anarchy?
Yeah, well, just the voluntary like interactions and deals that people do day to day are fine and moralistic, and we don't need a third party to jump in and tell us, two consenting adults that decide whatever. I give you cocaine, I give you bread, I cut your hair. Like, we don't need people to come in and say, well, that's wrong unless you pay for a certificate, or we're going to give you the rules on how to do this. At some point, it all becomes a sort of immoral, overbearing nanny, and you start stripping away the layers. And I think you end up stripping a lot of layers away. Now, me personally, I think that at the end of the day, like, human nature won't actually ever allow for a purely anarchistic society. And it's simply because a lot of people are lazy or busy and would choose to delegate. That's kind of why we have like homeowners associations and like condo associations, is because, you get 20 people in a condo and they go, we need this place maintained. Does anybody volunteer to help maintain it? Because I don't have the time to do all this stuff. And people go, all right, I'll help. And so you get a little board of people together that live in the building, and that's a tiny form of government. So I think there'll always be that, but I think that the federal government is where the real issues become, because it's like, what outside of national defense, they shouldn't have a whole lot to do with our day-to-day life. They shouldn't be in charge of, because even like interstates, right? It's like, why couldn't the state handle it? And if Kansas and Missouri want to team up together on chunks of road that go into both, it's like, let them. And also, every time there's a contract for like road construction, road work, if it's municipal and it's the same road, same stretch, same work done. Like, municipal contract would cost X. State contract for the same road, same work is about 2X. Federal might be 4X or 10X. And it's just all the grift and all the stuff that's got to go through, and all the regulations that are required by that level of government, that then you have to go through bureaucrats hired by that level of government, and you got to pay them stuff. So by the time you're all done, it's just the costs go up, but it's the same road being made the exact same way, and each level of government is just adding no value, just adding cost. Anyway, that's just a rant about something.
I like it.
Yeah, well, it's not news. Everyone knows it's true in their heart. They all know it's true in their heart. Like, we can figure this out, and we don't need... We got, man, in St. Pete, here's something that's been bugging me, right? So I met with a dude who, was thinking about running for mayor, and he was talking about how bloated just City Hall's getting in our little town. And it's all these, like, nonsense positions. The one thing that Kreisman put in was, like, a liaison to the LGBT community, right? Now, we're St. Pete. We're very gay-friendly, right? We got a huge, I think the second biggest pride parade celebration in the country, I think. If not second, it's close. We're up there, And we've got lots of gay-owned businesses. We've got everything's fine. Like, when Pride comes to town, there really is no conflict. No one goes, oh, maybe a couple people grumble about something, but there's no There's no to-do. There aren't protests and the struggle and all this stuff. Like, everybody's pretty chill with stuff, right? We have a liaison. So I guess someone that the government... If the gays need to talk to the government, they talk through the liaison. And I think we have a liaison, you know, to the black community and maybe to... I don't know how many liaisons we got. But it's like, I got a buddy named Bob. Bob is my parents' generation, so he's older. Bob is black, and Bob is gay. And when I talk to Bob, I walk up to him, and I say, "Hey, Bob, how you doing?" And then we have a conversation. Sometimes he's got some nice hot goss, and we sit around kind of trash talk people, maybe be a little catty. It's a great time. He's got all the good info. But he never says a bad word about anybody, actually. And I don't want to throw anybody under the bus. But no, it's one of those things. And at no point do I need an interpreter.
Right.
I don't need a government employee to come in there. "Pardon me, sir. I speak gay." You know? What was it, Airplane? "Pardon me, ma'am. I speak jive." Yeah.
Best scene.
Yeah. No, it's just, you know, it's mind blowing that someone's going to get paid like $100,000 a year, or at least 80. But I think it's closer to 100. But $100,000 a year, and their sole job is to be the gay ambassador, and like the gay community. It's not like we have a prison camp for the gays. You know, there's not like one community. You stay there. You know, like gay people live all over. They live all over in different neighborhoods with different needs. They have different income levels. They've got, you know, it's just ridiculous. Like it's homogenizing the homos. But you know, it's a heterod. Now I can't speak. I've got caught up in the homogenizing. But anyway, heterogeneous group. Like, it's not all the same. You know, they're not the same race. They're not the same economic background. They're not the same gender. You know, like we got the like. You ever heard the gay dudes and the lesbians like beef about one another? It's fun when they hate on each other. It's all good fun, but they'll hate on one another, and it's fun because you get to listen to it and go like talk your shit, you know, because it's funny.
Kelly and I were at the Tampa Bay Drinkery. Cool place, but yeah, I heard it there. Like it's a gay bar. It's just gossip going on like crazy. Good music there, but yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you get like grumpier lesbians will lay into like the more flamboyant gay dudes pretty hard. They'll be good, and they'll this fairy blah 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 blah. You go, you said it, and it's funny. But it's one of those things you go, all right. So if you get a butch lesbian gal to be your ambassador to the gays, like, I don't know, is she gonna rule with an iron fist? Are the gay dudes gonna get the same amount of access to the federal government as the lesbians? And like, anyway, all that to say, these liaisons to city government is so ridiculous. And like our little town, I mean, City Hall is very small. If you walk into, even before you get through the security thing, you can just yell the mayor's name. Okay, well, he'll hear you. He might not. He shouldn't come if you're just screaming his name of the thing, but he'll hear all the things you have to say if you just yell it right there. So it's like this. It's just such an unnecessary bloat, and seems just to be getting added to. I don't even know what sent me on that rant, but it's been bugging me.
Oh, weird libertarian viewpoints.
Oh,
anarchy.
Yeah, that's right. Frank for mayor. We're gonna eliminate that position. We're gonna eliminate a lot of positions in the city hall. All of them.
Do they have a Jewish liaison?
So we do need a Jewish liaison, Charlie. Do you have an application? It only pays $450,000 a year.
That's it.
That's all it pays. It does have a company car, a travel budget. You know. So just let me know.
Direct flights to the wall.
That's right. Sounds like a threat. Sounds like you're about to execute someone. But yeah, other than, of course, our Jewish liaison, I'd get rid of all those positions. And we'd be armed with a goy beam. All right. Well, I think on that note, we've handled everything we can handle. And wait, what was this one? Oh, I did want to compliment them. Well, we can do that. We can do a separate thing. We'll do a little compliment to... I've got nice things to say about Donald Trump, too. He did 2 good things this week, and I think he should get his flowers when he does 2 good things. Anyway, so make sure you like and follow Spotify and iTunes and all the things. YouTube's and the Rumbles, of course. Tell your friends, click the things, watch the clips, help the algorithm. We need you people. We're the #1 podcast in the country, but we still need more of y'all to follow along. What do you got for the people, Charlie?
Good fact for today, April 23rd. On this day in 2005, the very first video was uploaded to YouTube. It was an 18-second clip called Me at the Zoo, showing co-founder Jawed Karim standing in front of some elephants at the San Diego Zoo.
I'll be damned. We had a video, childhood. My dad would take us to the zoo and he'd do an elephant call, where you just kind of, that kind of thing. But ends up when he would do it, the elephants would start to walk over, and you're like, holy cow, the call's working. And then they just sort of would turn around and take the world's biggest dump you've ever seen. And two zoo trips in a row. So we have a home. I think I got it digitized on my computer here, actually. Maybe we'll include that at some point. But yeah, my dad used to make elephants poop.